Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Martin Schlecht. I'm the CEO of Suntrace, and I'm going to present you a couple of thoughts on high penetration renewable power for mines. Thank you for attending my presentation. Just a short remark to the background picture. You can see the B2Gold Fekola solar project in operation. It's the largest currently operating solar battery hybrid project for an off-grid mine. Taking a step back and looking at the roadmap to net zero, that can be a very long way, and I want to focus on the particular asset, on the mine itself. Each of those mines has potential to decarbonize, and renewable energy generation is the lowest hanging fruit. Off-grid mines in particular show the best cases and the best economics for renewable energies. For grid connected, it depends, and mine vehicles is a little bit in the future. What are the value drivers for RE? They are competitive, they reduce carbon emissions, they hedge the energy cost, and they can increase profitability of the mine, even allow for an exploration of lower grade resources. So let's hit the road, get going. What's already achieved is a 20% fuel savings. Again, the example of B2Gold shows that you can achieve this reliably during operations. The operational experience is very good, and the fuel savings exceed actually the target because of the performance is met, but also heavy fuel oil prices have increased steeply, and being a big cost benefit for mining operations. Further, the battery adds grid stability through primary frequency control, and in case an engine trips, the battery can step in and you don't need to do load shedding in mining operations to cover for the energy loss. The engine operation overall is improved. The ramp rate is controlled by the battery. The mill startup is supported by the battery as well. And during mine outage, for example, you can run the whole mine from renewables and you don't need any engine during daytime. So that's actual benefits exceeding the expectations of this project. But what's next is maximizing the solar energy potential. In the Fekola project, 2 to 3 engines are still operating during daytime. So the solar potential is not maximally utilized. But if you want to make the most benefit from the low-cost solar energy, you should use solar all over the day and shut down all engines. So looking at this case is what I'm showing here. If that would be maximized, you add a small battery that will just cover for spinning reserve and for starting up the engines in due course. You can reach more than 30% renewable energy share. In this case, it's 32% at the lowest cost. So that's definitely the best solution that you can implement very quickly. If you go to a bigger size, you look at here, the 50% renewable share can be reached when you expand with the 4 hours of battery, for example. That gives you the same energy cost as you have today with fossil fuel, but 50% renewable share. It's just not so economic compared to the previous solution at today's cost. But there's other alternatives that you can use on a site, and that could be wind energy. That depends on your location. This location that we have looked into the case study that has a wind profile that is fairly decent. It's not excessively good, but it's good enough to consider it. And you can see the different profiles on the pictures here. And the wind occurrence is not consistently at the same time of day. It changes. Every day can be different. So it's important to consider that there is more variability in the wind resource. If you look only at wind resources, you can reach a 36% renewable energy share at optimized cost. That means your lowest cost of overall power generation at the mine would be reached with 36% share. If you would install a bigger wind project, you can go up to 45% renewable energy share, keeping the energy cost at the same level as you have today with your fossil fuel. Wind is less predictable, genset management will be more complex, so going only for wind may not be the perfect option. The next option would be to add the solar to the wind. or add the wind to the solar. When you start with the solar, it's good to add the wind to it. And we have analyzed just as a case where, let's say, the solar is maximized for the daytime operations and the wind can come in complementarily. The benefit is every kilowatt hour that the wind will be substituting during the evening hours will give you the lower cost of your generation. Any hour that will go into the storage adds some cost element to it that makes it more expensive. And our optimized solution for this case is PV and wind, 100% mine load from PV and additional 40% capacity from wind can deliver 41% renewable energy share. And at the same cost of your today's fuel, you can go up to 56% renewable energy share. So that's a fairly decent addition at a very good economic scenario. Based on the slides and the information that I've shared with you in the previous slides, one can conclude on a potential roadmap for this individual mine that we have assessed in the case study. And a stage 1 project would be, from our view, the quick win, a PV and a small battery that can reach up to 32% share. The picture for a typical daily profile on a nice sunny day, you can see it on the right side in the upper part. The next stage then would be adding wind and a small battery to the case so that you have enough reliability to operate without engines for defined periods of time. And you can reach up to 44% of the share. You can see in the graph on the right side, the blue is representing the wind, the yellow is the solar. The very whitish yellow is the battery that is discharging, and the greenish part on exceeding the load curve from the mine, that would be excess energy that is being saved to the battery. And when you aim for 80% share, then of course you need to go much bigger. And much bigger means you up the solar, you up the wind, and put a larger battery. And just to show a possible scenario is as well in the lower section on the right side, you can see there's a lot of wind, there's a lot of solar, and the battery covers for the whole evening. But there's still some fossil element in it, depending on the day that you have. Looking at the economics and why this 80% case wouldn't be done today is possible to see in the following. With this graph, I want to explain the metrics of renewable energy's relation to the renewable energy share and the cost of electricity at your mining location. The green curve shows the RE share, the renewable energy share that you can achieve with your project. And the set of the blue curves right here, it's the levelized cost of electricity depending on a different capex. So the lower your capex will become by price reduction, for example, the more is the benefit from the renewables to your mining operations. And the black line that you can see here, that represents your fossil cost. So that's today's generation cost if you continue to run the fossil engines. Looking at stage 1, you can see that approximately 125% of the installed capacity from renewables can lead to a 30% renewable energy share that you can see here on the right part. And it also shows that this is benefiting from the lowest cost of energy at the blue curve at 125% capacity. Looking at what is possible at current fuel cost in terms of renewable share, you check out the fossil curve, that is the black line here, and where it meets the blue line, the LCOE cost for the renewables, that's like when the capacity of renewables will reach the economic level of your current energy cost. And looking for the renewable share, you see that it can reach 60% almost at today's cost. So that's like your break even. You don't have a competitive gain from the renewable share, but you're also not losing compared to heavy fuel oil supply in this case. Going to stage 2, that's in light blue. Like, for example, you add the wind to the project, you can see that there is a 44% renewable share being reached using this case. And it still benefits from the lowest cost of generation. For example, look at the light blue curve. So that's still in the most economic addition to your current generation plant. When you look at 80%, we do the math backwards, basically starting and at the 80% stake and check on where it hits this renewable share curve and then go down and see that you end up being almost 375 to 400% of installed capacity in percent of mine load that you would need to achieve 80% of renewable share in your mining operations. You can see that it's hugely depending on the economics that the technology will deliver. And if you do it today, you would do this 80% at a cost significantly above your current generation costs. So I don't think that's an option. The option is to wait for the capex to drop until it goes below or hits your fossil fuel cost benchmark. And then when it's reaching the lower values, it makes sense to invest. So it's difficult to predict the time when the cost will come to that level. But as you implement stage 1 and stage 2, the markets will mature and the prices will go down. And then maybe the time is right there for 80% share or bigger. So just check it out and keep your eyes open and keep your planning flexible to adjust. What helps as well is a systematic approach that could be supported by a company like Suntrace, an independent expert. Look at the renewables, look at the needs, look at the financial requirements, the renewable technology, optimize your concept, your competitive selection, and then implement the projects. Having a clear idea of what you need is always helpful, and going to the market with a clear message will give you suitable proposals at competitive rates. We are convinced that the services and the expertise that Suntrace will provide are a real value add for your projects, and that the contributions we will bring to your roadmap to net zero on mining level will give you the most benefits that you can achieve and will keep you updated on what the market developments are. So from that perspective, we would be happy to get in touch. Coming to the key takeaways from my presentation, it's worthwhile to know that we're proposing a systematic approach to implement renewables and grow the renewable share to a net zero value for your mine. We help you to look at solar, wind, and storage options, at the energy supply that you might have in the future, at the mining operations. Assessing your options is definitely a task worthwhile to do it from day one, and then keep it flexible enough to adapt to the market over time. From our view, the best element is to start with the first project, a stage 1 project, as soon as you can to benefit from the fuel savings and have your first steps and experience with renewables. And then upgrade the system, expand the renewable share by adding a stage 2, a stage 3, and so on as needed. Please do get in touch. Myself and my partner Lucas are around the conference, and 2 more colleagues from Suntrace as well. So we are available for you if you have some questions and some clarifications. We would be happy to get in touch. Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to receive your questions on my presentation.